Hi everyone, this is your Algebra 2B questions on lesson 93B. I am going to be doing the questions on 93B as well as one question from 93A that I missed from yesterday. So the first one that I'm going to do is number 18. So it looks like this. And what we're going to focus on first is this line that's going over to the right. Now it says that it's going 15 spaces to the right, but it's not going up or down. So I know automatically that this is going to be positive 15.00 r because it goes 15 spaces to the right, and it's not going up at all. So it'd be plus 0.00 u. Now I'm going to go to this triangle over here. I'm going to make this into a right triangle. And I noticed that this is going to the left of the origin, so that means our r is going to be negative, and then it's coming down off the x-axis, so that's also going to be negative. Now I'm going to solve for what r and u are equal to. So for x, which is our r, we're going to use cosine. That will be 12 times cosine of 32. And for y, we're going to use 12 times sine of 32. Now you're going to use your calculator. So we have 12 times 32 cosine equals, and that would be 10.18 when you round it. And then 12 times 32 sine equals would be 6.36. Now again, this one's our r and this one's our u, but remember both our r and our u are negative. So this would be negative 10.18 r and then minus 6.36 u. So when I add those together, I have 15 minus 10.18 would give me positive 4.82 r. And then 0 minus 6.36 would be just negative 6.36 u. And that would be your answer for number 18. Now moving on, we're going to look at number 23. So for number 23, we have to solve for a. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to distribute the m on the right hand side. On the left hand side, I'm going to leave it as is. So I have a plus c over m equals m over x plus b m over d. Now to get rid of the denominators, I'm actually going to multiply this whole thing by the common denominator, which would be xm or mxd. So when I multiply this fraction by mxd, I would just need to multiply the numerator by xd. So I'd multiply my a plus c by xd. So dx times a plus c equals, when I multiply this fraction, I would just have to multiply it by just m and d. So that would be m times md. And then for this last fraction, the d's would cancel, so I'd have to multiply the bm by mx. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to multiply that through. I'm going to multiply through this side, so that would be a dx plus c dx equals dm squared plus bm squared x. Now again, I'm trying to solve for a. So anything that contains an a, I'm going to leave on the left-hand side, and I'm going to move the c dx to the right-hand side. So I'm going to subtract c dx. Now to get ad by itself, I'm going to to get a by itself, I'm going to divide this whole thing by dx. Which means that a is going to be equal to dm squared plus bm squared x minus c dx all over dx. And that would be your answer. Now moving on, we're going to look at number 29. So number 29, we're going to start by dividing. So we're going to divide our first term x cubed by x, which would give me just x squared. When you multiply this back through, this would give me x cubed, so it would give me 3x squared. But remember that you're going to change the sign. So this positive changes to a negative, this positive changes to a negative. So the x cubes are going to cancel. Negative 3 minus 3 would be negative 6x squared, and we're going to carry down our 0x. Now when we divide, we have negative 6x squared divided by x. Lower the power by 1 would be negative 6x. Multiply this back through would be negative 6x squared and negative 18x. But remember, you have to change the signs. So this negative is going to change to a positive, this negative changes to a positive. Our 6x squareds are going to cancel, and 0 plus 18x would just be 18x. Carry down your negative 2. Now 18x divided by x would just be 18. Multiplied back there would be 18x. And then 18 times 3, which is 54. But again, you're changing the signs when they come down. So this becomes negative, this becomes negative. So our 18x's are going to cancel, and you're left with a remainder of a negative 56. And you're going to put your remainder over x plus 3. So your answer is going to be x squared minus 6x plus 18 minus 56 over x plus 3. And that would be your answer. Then we're going to look at number 30. So for number 30, when we have two lines that intersect on the outside, you're going to take half the difference of the two intercepted arcs. But if you look at this, the two intercepted arcs would be 90, and then it would be x, which means that we're going to say 25, our angle inside, is equal to 1/2 the difference of the two intercepted arcs, which are 90 and x. So it's a little different than the ones you've solved for in the past. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to get rid of that fraction by multiplying this whole thing by 2. When you do that, the left side becomes 50, and your right side is just going to become 90 minus x. Now I'm going to move this x to the left-hand side, move the 50 to the right. So I'm going to add x over here, and then I'm going to subtract 50 here, which means that x is going to be equal to 40. So you take half the difference of the two intercepted arcs when they intersect on the outside. Now for this one is going to be the outside plus the length of the entire line equals outside times the length of the entire line. So the outside of this top line would be 5. And the length of the entire line would be 5 plus y. Then if I look at my second line here, my outside would be 4. And the length of my entire line will be 7 plus 4, which would be 11. Now you're solving for y, so you're going to start by distributing. So we have 25 plus 5y equals 44. We're going to subtract 25 from both sides, and that's going to give me 5y is equal to 44 minus 25, which is 19. And therefore your answer for y is going to be 19 over 5. Okay, and then lastly, I'm going to be going over a problem from the first half of the lesson that I forgot to do yesterday, so it's number 11. And the first thing that you're going to do here is we're going to solve this equation for x. So if I solve this equation for x, I'm going to move the 2y to the other side. So that would become 2y plus 2. You're going to plug that into this equation here. That would be 2y plus 2 squared plus y squared is equal to 1. Now when you multiply out 2y plus 2 squared, that means you would do 2y plus 2 times 2y plus 2 plus y squared equals 1. So the first thing I'm going to do is distribute. So 2y times 2y would be 4y squared. 2y times 2 would be 4y. 2 times 2y would be 4y. And then 2 times 2 would be 4. I'm also going to move the 1 to the left-hand side, so I'm going to subtract 1 from the other side, set it equal to 0. Now I'm going to add my y squareds together, add the 4y's together, and then add my 4 and my negative 1. So that would give me 5y squared plus 8y plus 3 equals 0. Now we have to solve for y, and we're going to solve for y using quadratic formula. So my a was going to be 5, my b will be 8, and my c will be 3. So instead of x is equal to negative b, it's going to be y is equal to negative b, so negative 8, plus or minus the square root, b squared minus 4 times a times c, all over 2 times a. Now, when I do this, I get negative 8 over 10 plus or minus, and that would be the square root of 64. 4 times 5 times 3 would be minus 60 over 10. Now, negative 8 over 10 would simplify to negative 4 over 5. Plus or minus, 64 minus 60 would just be 4. So the square root of 4 over 10. You know the square root of 4 is 2, which means that y is going to be equal to negative 4 over 5 plus or minus 1 over 5. And that means we can actually get 2 answers for this. When I add negative 4 plus 1, that's going to be negative 3 over 5. And when I add negative 4 over 5 minus 1 over 5, that would be negative 5 over 5, which would be negative 1. So these are your answers for what y is equal to. But then you need to solve for what x is equal to. So you're going to start with solving for when y is equal to negative 3 over 5. When y is equal to negative 3 over 5, you're going to plug it into that equation, and you'll have 2 times negative 3 over 5 plus 2. But you'll want to make a common denominator of 5. So that would be negative 6 over 5 plus 10 over 5. And you would get 4 over 5. You're going to write your answer as an ordered pair. So x would be 4 over 5 and y is negative 3 over 5. And you would write your answer like this. X is 4 over 5, comma, y is negative 3 over 5. Then I have to solve for when y is equal to negative 1. When y is equal to negative 1, I'm going to plug it into that equation again. So I get x is equal to 2 times negative 1 plus 2. When I do that, 2 times negative 1 is going to give me negative 2 plus 2, which will give me 0. So now my x is 0, my y is negative 1. So my ordered pair would be 0, comma, negative 1. And these would be my 2 sets of answers. And you're writing them again as ordered pair, your x, comma, y. And that would be your answer for number 11, and this is again from 93A. Now remember to finish this lesson and turn it in, but in addition, you need to watch the video of lesson 94, and all questions for 94A need to be posted in the lesson 94 video by 9 a.m. on Monday morning. I hope you all have a great weekend. Bye.